Try to remember your second birthday. The cake, the candles, whoever lifted you to blow them out. You can't, can you? Almost nobody can pull up one real memory from before they were about 3 years old. And here's the strange part. Back then, you weren't a blank. You were learning faster than you ever would again.
So where did all of it go?
It even has a name. Psychologists call it infantile amnesia, and it's almost universal. Ask a room full of adults for their very first memory, and on average, it lands around 3.5 years old. A few have a faint scrap from age 2. Most people have nothing solid until they're nearly at school.
3.5? But 2-year-olds clearly remember things. My niece knows exactly which cupboard the biscuits live in.
She does, and that's the puzzle. A toddler remembers faces, words, where the biscuits live, thousands of things. Their memory plainly works. The mystery isn't the present. It's why almost none of it survives to be replayed by the grown-up they become. And the earliest memories we do keep are usually a single frozen snapshot, a smell, a feeling, not a scene you can play back.
And before anyone says it, this isn't the repression thing, right? Like my mind hiding my toddler years?
That's the old idea. And no, it doesn't hold up. Your brain isn't burying those years to protect you. As far as we can tell, the memories simply aren't in there to be found. So the real question is, what happens to them? Picture your brain keeping a kind of library. To file an experience as a memory you can revisit, 2 areas have to do their job. The hippocampus, deep in the middle, ties the pieces of a moment together, and the prefrontal cortex, behind your forehead, stamps it with the context. This happened to me here on this day. In a baby, both of those are still being wired up. The shelves are getting built while the books are already arriving.
So the experiences come flooding in, but there's nowhere tidy to put them yet.
That's one of the leading ideas, and here's a clue that backs it up. Before you have much language or a settled sense of yourself as a person things happen to, a moment may never get filed as a story you could tell later. And cultures show this. People raised in families that talk a lot about the past, that ask, what did we do at the beach? Who was there? How did you feel? Tend to have earlier first memories. In some cultures, people remember back several months further than in others.
Wait, so just talking about a memory helps lock it in?
Putting it into words seems to help the brain save it in a form you can pull back up. Without the words, the moment still happens. It just may never get filed as something retrievable. Now, here's the theory that really makes you sit up, and I want to be honest that it's still a theory. A baby's hippocampus is growing brand new neurons at a furious rate, faster than at any other time of life. And some researchers think that growth is the culprit. Each wave of new cells rewires the circuit and may quietly write over the records already stored there.
Hang on, the brain growing is what erases the memories?
That's the idea. And the strongest evidence comes from animals, mostly mice. Slow that new neuron growth in a baby mouse, and it remembers things it would normally forget. Speed it up, and you can force the forgetting. There are even animals like guinea pigs, born far more developed, that do much less of this growth after birth, and they show much less of this early forgetting. It fits beautifully, but it's mousework. So for us humans, treat it as a strong lead, not a closed case.
So the working story is the memories were basically never saved. Case closed?
That was the textbook line for decades, and then, very recently, it got flipped on its head. A team at Yale did something that sounds almost impossible. They got babies wide awake to lie still in a brain scanner and watch pictures.
Awake babies in an MRI. That's the real miracle here.
Honestly, yes. And they watched the hippocampus light up. They found that from around 1 year old, the harder a baby's hippocampus worked while seeing a new picture, the longer that baby later looked at it when it came back. In other words, the baby brain was encoding the memory, recording it. The machine was working all along.
So the babies are making the memories, we just can't get back to them.
That's the twist, and it flips the whole question. For a century, we asked, why did your brain fail to record your babyhood? This new work hints that maybe it didn't fail at all. Maybe the recording got made, and what we lose later is the way back in. The key, not the tape. Now, careful. That's an interpretation, not a settled fact. Lighting up in a scanner isn't the same as proving you could ever replay that day, and nobody knows why the door closes on those memories. But it's a lovely thought to leave you with. Your earliest years aren't a blank. Somewhere in there is the day you first walked, the first face you loved, your second birthday with the candles. Your brain may have kept the whole tape. It just very quietly lost the key. Stay curious. If you enjoyed that, subscribe for more and stay curious.